Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered, is someone up there right now? Well, the answer is yes. Right now, there are humans living in space, sleeping, eating, working, and even calling home. And their home? It's called the International Space Station, or ISS. It might sound like science fiction, but it's not. The ISS is real. It's a giant science lab that orbits Earth 16 times every single day, flying at 28,000 kilometers per hour. That's fast enough to cross from New York to Tokyo in just 12 minutes. And yet, it's so high up, about 400 kilometers above the ground, that from here, it just looks like a moving star. But this space station didn't appear overnight. The story of the ISS goes back more than 25 years. The dream of a space station. The idea of a space station isn't new. As early as the 1960s, during the Cold War, both the United States and the Soviet Union dreamed of having permanent outposts in space. The Soviets built several early stations. The most famous was Mir, launched in 1986. The Americans had Skylab in the 1970s, but these were small, temporary, and limited. Then, after the Cold War ended, something surprising happened. Rival space agencies from around the world decided to come together for a shared mission, to build one large international station in space. A place where humans could live and work, not for weeks, but for years. That vision became the ISS. Building the ISS, a global effort. Construction of the International Space Station began in 1998. But unlike a building on Earth, the ISS couldn't be built all at once. It had to be launched in pieces, more than 30 major parts, and assembled while floating in orbit. That job took over 13 years. The first module was a Russian-built piece called Zarya. Later came Unity from the US, Columbus from Europe, Kibo from Japan, and many others. Dozens of space shuttle missions were used to carry pieces, parts, and people. Astronauts worked in bulky spacesuits, floating in zero gravity, tightening bolts, connecting wires, and slowly turning metal into a habitable world. Today, the ISS is a massive structure, about 109 meters long, as wide as a football field, and weighs over 400 tons. And yet, it floats effortlessly in space, circling our planet once every 90 minutes. Inside the ISS. So, what's it like inside? Let's start with the basics. There's no up or down. In zero gravity, everything floats, including people. Astronauts glide through narrow tunnels and rooms packed with computers, wires, and blinking instruments. The interior is cramped but highly organized. There are modules for sleeping, working, eating, exercising, and running science experiments. The sleeping areas are just small cabins where astronauts sleep in sleeping bags attached to the wall so they don't float away. There's no shower. Instead, they use wet towels, rinseless soap, and a vacuum-style toilet. It may not be glamorous, but it works. What do astronauts do all day? A typical day on the ISS begins at around 6 a.m. UTC. Astronauts follow a strict schedule, planned almost down to the minute. They spend a lot of time doing science. Hundreds of experiments are running at any given time. These can range from growing plants without soil to studying how the human body changes in microgravity. They also maintain the station, replacing filters, repairing systems, and checking equipment. And of course, there's exercise. Without gravity, bones and muscles weaken fast. So each astronaut spends about 2 hours a day on a treadmill, bike, or resistance machine. Meals are eaten quickly, usually pre-packed food warmed in a small oven. On special occasions, they might get treats like cookies or even tortillas with peanut butter. And yes, they call their families. There's email and even video calls. Astronauts also post on social media, sharing views of Earth from space, massive storms, glowing auroras, and glittering city lights. What's the point? You might be wondering, why spend all this time and money to keep people in space? The ISS is more than just a cool science lab. It's a test bed for the future. If humans ever want to go to Mars or live on the Moon, we need to understand how to survive long-term in space. The ISS teaches us how. We've learned how space affects our hearts, our brains, our bones, our immune systems. We've tested new materials, medical devices, and even 3D printed tools, all in microgravity. The ISS has also been used to launch small satellites, study climate change, and track natural disasters. And perhaps just as importantly, it's a symbol of global cooperation. Built and maintained by 5 major space agencies: NASA, USA, Roscosmos, Russia, ESA, Europe, JAXA, Japan, and CSA, Canada, the ISS is one of the few places where countries still work closely together, even during times of political tension. Challenges and dangers. But life on the ISS isn't easy. There are risks: micrometeoroids, radiation, mechanical breakdowns, or even fire. Every astronaut is trained to handle emergencies. They rehearse what to do if the station depressurizes or if smoke appears. There are always escape vehicles docked, like the SpaceX Crew Dragon or Russia's Soyuz, ready to take the crew back to Earth if needed. Supplies are delivered by cargo ships, uncrewed spacecraft launched by NASA, SpaceX, or other agencies. These carry food, experiments, spare parts, and even gifts from home. Famous moments on the ISS. Over the years, the ISS has seen many memorable moments. In 2001, Dennis Tito became the world's first space tourist, paying millions to visit the station. In 2015, astronaut Scott Kelly began a year-long stay, helping scientists understand how long space flights might affect humans. In 2021, SpaceX launched the first all-civilian crew to space, marking the rise of private spaceflight. And in 2024, the ISS celebrated over 2 decades of continuous human presence in space. That's right, someone has been living on the ISS every single day since November 2000. What's next? The ISS won't be around forever. It's expected to retire by 2030 as it gets older and harder to maintain. But the future of space stations is just beginning. NASA plans to build a new station orbiting the Moon, called Gateway. China already has its own station, Tiangong, and other countries and private companies are racing to build space hotels, research labs, and even manufacturing plants in orbit. The ISS was just the beginning, a stepping stone to a future where living and working in space could be routine. A glimpse of the future. So next time you look up at the night sky and see a small dot silently moving across the stars, remember, it's not just a satellite. It might be the ISS. And aboard it, there are people, floating, working, dreaming on behalf of all of us here on Earth. It's a reminder of what's possible when humans choose to explore, to collaborate, and to reach beyond the limits of gravity.